Training camp drama. Let's go. It only took us, 5 hours into the NHL training camps opening up for us to get a big, juicy story as to what's going on in the league. Today we're talking about two-time Stanley Cup champion and Tampa Bay Lightning captain Steven Stamkos, because when it comes to his future in the NHL, you may debate that there's some doubt as to whether or not that will continue with Tampa, at least based off of what we had seen yesterday. You see, training camp started up, and you had all the captains, you had all the people on teams, you had the GMs giving their press conferences and talking to the media. It's nice to see media scrums be a thing once more, especially in the locker room environment. I think the entire 2 years where we had COVID-compliant interviews on Zoom kind of messed up with everybody's perceptions as to how these things are normally done. But seeing the scrum, seeing the guys crowding around players in the locker rooms again, these are the memories. These are the times. So Steven Stamkos had himself his own few comments to make, and it's really interesting because when it comes to the quotes, he ends up talking on a video that's about 30 seconds long. I'll leave a link in the description if you want to listen to this yourself. He talks about how he's been disappointed that the Tampa Bay Lightning have not discussed a contract extension with him over the summer. Now, Stamkos, as we know, is one of the top goal scorers and players in the NHL today. 33 years old, 6'1", 194 right-handed guy, center winger, he can play on the wing, he can play C, and he's got an $8.5 million AAV deal, which expires at the end of this season. So, in 2024, he'll be a free agent if the Tampa Bay Lightning are not able to give him a contract extension. Last year, the guy had 84 points in 81 games played. The year before that, a 100-point campaign. He's had 40-goal seasons, he's had a 60-goal season. He is a good player. And because there have been no contract extension talks throughout this summer, Steven Stamkos decided to express his frustration when getting interviewed by the media. Here are a few comments made, actually tweeted out by Lightning Insider, so good on you guys for transcribing the quotes. To be honest, I've been disappointed in the lack of talk in that regard. So it was something I expressed at the end of last year that I wanted to get something done before training camp. Is it okay to discuss during the season? Stamkos said, I'm ready whenever, so I guess that was something that I didn't see coming. But it is what it is. Like I stated at the end of last year too, I would love to extend and play here, and finish up my career here, but that's out of my hands. I can't write a contract for myself. And so, this is a very peculiar set of comments because you normally don't ever see a captain of a team, especially one that's been so successful on a team that's been so successful, openly state how he's been frustrated with the way the team is operating. Just in that respect alone, it's kind of interesting, but then acknowledging that these comments are made specifically about, yeah, we haven't talked about an extension. I'm still a free agent to be. I'm not secure past 23-24, and I want to be secure, but the team hasn't given me the chance to do that. That right there, that's different. Like, we don't ever see comments that are made in that sort of territory of a player expressing his frustration with the lack of contract extension talks. Normally you'll see guys talk about things in a loosey-goosey, kind of fickle, not too serious type of way because they don't want to give their team any leverage, but for Stamkos, he's saying straight up, yeah, I want to come back. Like, I want to be here. I don't want to play anywhere else. I wanted to sign with the Lightning, and I told them I wanted to sign, but we didn't get things done. So I'm kind of thinking here, what's up with that? That's an interesting set of comments, but the even more interesting part about this is that you had Julien Brisebois go out there and have a long response to the contract negotiation situation. Here's the tweet made by Chris Kren, and it's a very long paragraph. I'm not going to screenshot and put it on the screen for the entire time, but I'm just going to read out what Julien Brisebois had to say about Stamkos. I'll start by saying everyone knows what Steven means to our organization, and his contributions to our team's success goes beyond his performance on the ice. He is as good a spokesperson for an organization as you're going to find, not just in hockey, but in all of sports. On the ice, he's coming off arguably his best 2-year stretch of hockey. He's in great shape and keeps himself in great shape. Next summer, when his contract ends, he is going to be 34 years old and not 44 years old, so I fully expect him to continue to be a highly productive player, not just for this coming year, but for years to come. Steven has mentioned publicly and to me that he wants to spend his entire career with the Lightning. I think it would be great for the organization if Steven could spend his entire career with the Lightning. That's in everyone's best interest. At the same time, it's not just about Steven playing out his career in Tampa. It's about Steven staying in Tampa and the Lightning remaining a legitimate Stanley Cup contender year in and year out for the remainder of his tenure as a player on the club. Steven and I share a common goal of bringing the cup back to Tampa Bay. That's our objective. In order for us to do that in future years, we're going to need to spend our cap dollars as wisely as possible. And in order for me to do that, I feel like I need to gather more information. I need to see how this season plays out. I need to see how the pieces of the puzzle fit this year. I need to see who steps up and is able to handle a bigger role. I need to see how the team performs. After the season, I'll have gathered that information, and then I'll be in a better position to have a clearer picture of what our puzzle looks like going forward, what roster needs we might have, and then how to allocate our cap space in order to build the best roster possible, not only for Steven to remain with the Lightning, but for us to stay Stanley Cup contenders year in and year out for the remainder of his tenure with us and hopefully bring a cup back to Tampa. That's what I would say. I would say I need to see how this season plays out before I can make those decisions. After the season, once I've gathered that information, I can work with Steven and his agent on the contract structure that will be the best of interest for both sides. Oh boy, wow, what a response to the Steven Stamkos thing. Pretty much buttering the guy up, saying, yeah, like, Steven is a good player, he's still good, and we still think it'd be great for him to come back, but... And that's the big word here. He says a big but. And he says that he doesn't know much about the club's long-term projectability. He wants to use this season as a chance to understand more about the players on the team, understand more about the needs of the team, before committing an extension to Steven Stamkos, who happens to be the captain. Yeah, that's, can't say I've ever seen that before, to be honest. Like, going through all those hurdles just to say, yeah, I mean, we need more information. We're going to do it later. We're not going to sign him now. We're just going to wait to see how the season plays out. And then after assessing our team in 23-24, we're going to try to get these negotiations done. When it comes to the comments he made on worrying if the contract situation is weighing on Stamkos, Breezeball says, I know where he's coming from. I know that for him, it would have been a lot easier for him to have a contract in place. But in the grand scheme of things, I think this is the right course of action at this point. There also was a conversation on if Breezeball is worried about Stamkos pricing himself out. Obviously, at the end, the contracts are going to have to work for both sides. Steven is going to have a say here. We'll address that in due time. These things, they take care of themselves, and when the time comes, we'll address them. Darn, this guy did not just pull off the oh, it'll take care of itself argument, did he? No, I think he did. Essentially, what the question is asking here is, what if Steven Stamkos puts up like a 150-point year? What if he plays so well that all of a sudden his demands are able to go through the roof, into territory that the Lightning have never even seen before? Like, Nikita Kucherov's making 9 point something. Of course, there's a state tax situation in Tampa, which makes it easier for contracts to be handed out at lower dollar amounts. But what if Steven Stamkos becomes like 1B to Connor McDavid and Draisaitl? What if he becomes all of a sudden a $13 million player like Matthews is? If he prices himself out of Tampa, and all of a sudden he's a free agent, he gets, let's say, $14 million in the open market, and the Lightning are like, yeah, we can't compete with that. Like, we were going to try to sign him to 9, but now he's on the books for $5 million more. Yeah, sorry, Steven, but we can't get you to that deal. It would be so reminiscent of all the other top stars that had left their teams after extended amounts of time. Tavares, Gaudreau, is Stamkos next in line here? He already expressed his frustration with not getting the contract extension done. Those other guys, Gaudreau and Tavares, did not say anything like that. They said pretty much the entire time leading up to their departures that, oh yeah, I want to stay here. We'll commit to talking about things later. We're always trying to get things going. Or they'll say something like, yeah, no, I let my agent handle that. I want to focus on playing. Right now I'm here and I'm ready to win with this team right here because we're good and we're here. Did I mention that we're right here in this moment in time? Not in the future, but right now. Like, it was so composed, I felt. You could understand that there was some level of deception where these players were saying, yeah, I don't want to comment on the future. I don't want to comment on what I'm going to do. I don't want to give my team any leverage in negotiating a contract. And if my heart really is in some other place, I don't want to let that be known by the media members. But Stamkos is like, yeah, no, I just want to stay here. I don't want to go anywhere else. I want to come here. But we didn't talk about the contract, so I'm kind of upset now. This is a weird situation. We're going to have to follow it more as it goes on. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about Steven Stamkos wanting to return to Tampa, but the Lightning pretty much saying no, we'll wait till after the season to get the contract negotiations started? I hope you enjoyed this video, and bye.